Good morning, everyone. My name is Alfred Mooley. I'm the Corporate Director of Spiritual Life, and it's such a great delight for me to be able to share a devotional with you this morning. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about difficult experiences, difficult situations that we as believers in God go through in life. And when those difficult situations come our way, we go to God in prayer. And oftentimes, we want God to answer very quickly, and we get frustrated when we feel like He's not answering quickly. We get tempted to even begin to think that God is not listening to us. God probably has abandoned us, and it can be such a very frustrating experience. And you know what? Great men of the faith, people like David also, were there at some point in their walk with God. And I want us to hear how David responded in that situation. Very, very difficult words here that he had to express to God. And he says, "Awake, O Lord, why do you sleep? Rouse yourself. Do not reject us forever. Why do you hide your face and forget our misery and oppression? We are bound down to the dust, and our bodies cling to the ground. Rise up and help us. Redeem us because of your unfailing love." And that is Psalm 44, verse 23 to 26. This is David expressing his emotions, his misery to God. He is just pouring his heart to God. Now, some people may wonder, should we talk in that way to God? Is that even appropriate for us human beings to talk to God like that? Now, I do not believe David here is expressing unbelief. David here is simply expressing his feelings to God, his emotions, his misery to God, his frustration to God. And that is what I think God would be okay with us, expressing our emotions, our feelings to Him, just like David did here. And it's recorded for us in the Bible. But I would say something else to you. I would say when we find ourselves in that kind of a situation, I believe there are two things that I would suggest for you that I would like for you and for myself to remember and to keep in our minds. And one of them is that we need to remember God's promises. Remember God's promises, and remember that God is trustworthy. He is faithful, and His promises will always come true. And one of the promises that God gives to us is that He says, "I will never leave you, I will never abandon you." And even when our feelings are telling us that God has abandoned us, guess what? God has not. In reality, He has not abandoned us. Sometimes our feelings are not always in accord with reality. And so we need to always remind ourselves that God is faithful. God is true to His promises that He has given us. And there's a second thing that I would like us to remember, and that is we should remember God's time. God's timing is always the best. Even when sometimes we face these kind of difficult situations in life, we tend to oftentimes to run ahead of God, or sometimes we are a little slow. We are not keeping pace with God in accordance to His will. God's timing is always the best. And His delays is not always telling us that He's denying us. His delays are not always a sign of denial. He is simply wanting us to learn and to grow, to wait upon Him patiently. And so I urge you to continue to wait upon God, to pray to Him, and to remember His promises, and to remember His timing is always the best. And may God bless you.